Welcome to EuroPCR 2026. My name is Davide Capodanno, interventional cardiologist from Catania, Italy. So drug-eluting stents are a kind of standard of care for PCI nowadays, but we have also several other options. The first generation bioresorbable scaffold had some issues, and now we will see whether there will be a comeback. There are of course DCB, which are under active investigation with some pros, some cons, some indications, other subsets where they do not perform so well apparently. And we have now a fourth contender, which is the Bioadaptor, which is somehow a platform with the three helicoidal strands that disconnect at some point in time, and therefore this will restore the concepts such as pulsatility, vasomotion. So this is a very interesting and intriguing new concept in the field of PCI. I'm delighted to talk about this with the two guests, Stefan Verheye and David Erlinge, and we want to know more about data regarding the bioadapters. And maybe Stefan, we can start with you because of course you had an important role in the Bioadaptor RCT. So where are we with this trial and follow-up?
Thank you, Davide. So the Bioadaptor randomized controlled trial was the largest randomized controlled trial comparing the Bioadaptor versus the Onyx drug-eluting stent that was on the market. And there were 445 patients that were randomized into the trial. And what was reported here today at PCR is the 4-year outcomes of that trial. So the initial results were very promising, and what we do see in this trial, the outcome is that the TLF rate, target lesion failure rate, in the Bioadaptor was significantly lower compared to the TLF rate with the drug-eluting stent. We are talking about 2.7% TLF versus 7.8% TLF, which is a reduction of 66%. So very significant outcome. And when you do a landmark analysis looking at 6 months, so when the biodegradation has taken place, you still see a very significant difference between the Bioadaptor and the drug-eluting stent. So that's a first important remark that we see in the randomized controlled trial. Finally, I think what is very important is that what we see is a reduction in cardiovascular death. In all the trials that we have seen with stents and other materials like platforms, this is the first time that we see a significant reduction in cardiovascular death at 4 years, the Bioadaptor versus drug-eluting stent. And if you think about what could be, good targets for these patients with Bioadaptor, then it's easy to look at LED lesions.
Yeah.
LED lesions, which we know that they are a very important contributor to death and to target lesion failure. We see that there's a significant reduction also in LED lesions, and this is talking about 10% event rate in the drug-eluting stent versus 2% in the Bioadaptor. So that is quite meaningful for LED lesions. So that's basically, in summary, the 4-year outcome for the Bioadaptor randomized controlled trial.
Okay, so these curves are diverging still at 4 years. So one may say that this is one exceptional case, but actually we have another trial, which is INFINITY-SWEDEHEART. So David, maybe you can tell us where we are with this trial as well.
Yeah, so the INFINITY-SWEDEHEART trial is a real world population trial with 2,400 patients. And we are lagging a bit behind you with your trial. So we have 2-year data that we present at TCT. And when we look at the landmark analysis from 6 months, when the Bioadaptor opens up and becomes different from a drug-eluting stent, we see a reduction of TLF with 48%. So it's a clear, significant effect of the Bioadaptor. We also had a lot of ACS in the trial, 75%. And the effect was even more pronounced in the ACS population.
Okay, so there is a kind of replication of these results also on a larger scale. One question I want to ask, because many people in the community are curious regarding whether this technology requires special, imaging, physiology. Do you have any insights into this?
Yes, so that's a question I very often get. Do I have to do imaging, anything special with this new device? And we did a subgroup analysis where we took the imaging and the physiology patients compared to pure angiography. And the results are very, very similar. There is no p-value for interaction, nothing that says that you have to do imaging or physiology. But of course, as a part of standard PCI and guidelines, you should do it when you want to.
Okay.
But it's not necessary.
Perfect. It's not on purpose because of this device.
No.
And maybe back to you, Stefan, because now, of course, we are at the phase where after the trials, we want to see how this platform behave on all the subsets that we deal with in clinical practice, osteal lesions, bifurcations. Do we have any real-world registry that can help us?
Yeah, that's a very important question, Davide. And so basically what is happening, so usually when you have two large randomized controlled trials, you have to take that to the real world, what is happening in the real world, and therefore the BioAdaptor registry is a 5,000 patient registry collection of all data. And it's basically looking at acute outcomes at 1 month. So acute outcomes, but also looking at 30 days. And we're looking at very complex patients. Majority basically are B2 to C lesions. There's a high rate of patients with bifurcations. There's also calcifications. So what we see on a daily rate, let's say in practice, is something that is being done now in the BioAdaptor registry. So far, little short of 700 patients have been enrolled in the trial. And what I can share with you is that today, what is reported also at PCR is the outcome at 30 days with a very low TLF also in about 0.5% at 30 days, so very low, no target vessel MI, so very good outcomes basically, and clinically indicated TLR is extremely low. And also the subacute or acute stent thrombosis at 30 days is 0.2%. So what we see in the randomized trials is being translated into the registry, but of course we have to wait for the 5,000 patients.
Yeah, of course, but it's encouraging to know that what you see in trials, it's replicated also in more, let's say, unselected lesions as compared with those in the trials. So the good news is that exactly like physiology is improving, imaging is improving, we are improving, I don't know, lesion preparation techniques and strategies, also the platforms are somehow improving, so we should feel a bit more encouraged to use these new technologies, go out of the comfort zone. We always choose the same device. We should also test other good concepts that are there, like this one. So thank you very much for this nice conversation, and thank you all for watching this video.